just catching up with another meeting that streamed about half an hour ago. It's only 25 minutes, and it's about the Norfolk parking partnership, with the car parks. So I thought I'd have a little listen in. One, at the terrible editing. Two, how they cut everything out. And three, what information they have left. So here we go.
The year-end position for the NPP CPE account shows a slight deficit of 25,091 as reported at the last NPP Joint Committee in June, and the Norwich City year-end account position shows a surplus of 452,083, also as reported at the June 2025 committee. A detailed narrative and explanation of those outturns and accounts was provided then, so we don't normally repeat that in this September report. Therefore, they're only provided as appended for information and completeness for this report. Also, it's customary for in the annual report that we provide an update on the work of the Blue Badge investigator, who supports the work of the parking partnership and is funded from the income generated from Norfolk's on-street parking and enforcement. If we move now to section 1, background and purpose. As part of its duties, the NPP, as I said, is required to regularly meet, and we've historically met 4 times a year in March, June, September and December, with its September meeting, this one, having an annual report presented. And this annual report, as I said earlier, presents the year-end 2024 financial outturns for the NPP and Norwich City accounts, and is for information and completeness. And also, the DFT requires us to publish an annual breakdown of penalty charge notices issued, and these are included in this report, along with a historical summary of the Blue Badge Investigator's headline achievements for this financial year. Moving on to sections 2 and 3, the purpose and impact. They're DFT PCN stats.
No, the report. Come on.
Moving on to a little bit more nitty-gritty detail in section 4.3.
No, nitty-gritty was the breakdown that you were then talking about.
These paragraphs refer to the most noteworthy figures and movements shown in Appendix C, which is the 2024-25 NPP DFT PCN statistics. And the paragraphs really summarise the headline figures, and just picking out the noteworthy things. 4.5, we've had a total of 19,145 PCNs issued this year, compared to slightly more last year of the equivalent period. It's a slight decrease this year, 7.5% equivalent period. It's a slight decrease this year,
terrible editing,
and was largely due to a reduction, as it says there, in PCNs at Kings Lynn, arising from staff vacancies and some long-term absences.
It shows
but
that this is censored.
As it says there, there have been some
heavily censored
successes now in filling those vacant posts. Across all the other authority areas were pretty much the same. There was a range of 154 less to 274 more this year. That might sound a lot, but in real terms, when you divide that back, that's only a difference of between about 3 and 5 PCNs a week. So very, very small difference year on year. 4.6 really explains that the percentage being paid remains very similar year on year. We've had a slight decrease in Yarmouth for the same period, but overall it gives us a very comparable 74 and a bit percent to 76 the prior year, so pretty close in real terms again. Refer to the most noteworthy D, which is the Norwich DFT PCN stats. We've had a reduction this year from 21,914 last year to 17,874, and due to a combination of staff vacancies and some depleted cover over extended hours outside the normal working day. Again, there has been some recent team recruitment and restructuring there, and some successful appointments, and there'll be a number of changes as well, and a late team is about to go live on the 27th of this month in the city at no extra expense to the parking partnership, to help address those shortfalls in the patrolling hours. Again, the percentage PCNs paid is almost identical to last year, nearly 81%, and the reduced number of PCNs is really reflected in all the other paragraphs 4, 12, 13 and 14. The percentages are very, very similar, but the numbers will be down because the PCNs are down, and one follows the other. 416 to 420 detail another year of very positive achievements and outturns by the NPP's Blue Badge investigator, and the breakdown of the actions and outcomes from the 111 reports he's received this year, and you can see in 419 there how that's made up. So some very successful outcomes there. And as many of you will know that Jim, our Blue Badge investigator, is a part-time post funded by income generated from Norfolk's on-street parking enforcement, and whose work is very valued and well received by the NPP and CPE colleagues, as is the training and support he provides to all the CEOs that cover Norfolk. Sections 421 to 22 refer to the civil parking enforcement KPIs shown in Appendix E. There's quite a number of pages there, and I think apart from the tables and the other things that are contained within it, the main takeaways being the PCN's line, the issued line graphs, which really visually depict the movements year on year. They are quite a good graphical representation of what's explained in sections 4.5 to 4.11. And shown in the tables also in appendices C and D. You can see at a glance there, really. I know there was, some of you noticed a slight typo on the first page where it said August 2023, but I have been reliably reassured by my colleague, Martin, that although that was a date typo, the figures are correct for August 2025. Again, these reflect the backdrop in the challenges that we've had with staff and sickness this year, if you follow the trend of the graphs. Sections 5.10, as usual, are pretty self-explanatory, with section 9.1 confirming the forecast combined net surplus. And if you add one to the other, that gives us an outturn of £426,000 and 92 pence, and 92 pounds, and the available funding and options to mitigate and offset any financial risks, should there have been any, which there aren't, of course. So in conclusion, Chair and colleagues, it's been a real pleasure and privilege once again to present this 2024-25 NPP annual report to the committee, as it clearly demonstrates that despite a backdrop of some staffing and vacancy challenges again this year, the excellent achievements and the work undertaken and dedication and commitment of all our parking partner authorities. And my thanks go out once again to all of my colleagues here for continuing to make this happen, and the success and recognition that they and the partnership justly deserve. That pretty much wraps up my presentation of this September NPP JC annual report. So I'd like to hand back now to you, Chair, for the Section 11 recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to say, especially on 4.5, where we're talking about these staff vacancies and long-term absences, you're dealing with the staff vacancies. I can see that they're picking up. The long-term absences, are they being picked up by HR? Are they being dealt with in a shall we say? Because obviously if they're off long-term sick, then you don't employ somebody to cover for them. They are not there, simply. I'll come to you in a minute, Martin, just a second. It's good to see that the percentage of take and everything else has remained. That's just about making sure that we keep our roadways and byways clear. Pick up on the Blue Badge investigator as well. I mean, that was relatively new, from a couple of years ago, and he has proved his worth. I mean, at the end of the day, if you read the cases and the prosecutions and the warnings that have been given out as well, I think it's fair to say that that position has washed its face. So we'll continue with that at the normal pace, I expect. And I turn to Martin. You put your hand up. I fully understand the reasoning behind long-term sickness, but it still causes an effect on the efficiency of the system.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Excuse me. Long-term sickness is a significant problem. And as you've rightly identified, it's really, really tough to go out and recruit somebody for a short period of time, given the levels of experience, training and backup and support they need to be able to deliver the role. Excuse me. Be fair to say that the long-term sicknesses we're experiencing at the moment are around waiting for surgeries and interventions. So predominantly they're outside of our direct influence or control. So although our well-being, our welfare and our HR teams are involved, if somebody's waiting for a medical procedure, then regrettably they're in the queue, which does create us from time to time some quite considerable issues. But notwithstanding that, the guys out on the ground, unlike perhaps those in a more office-based environment, do need to be fit when they go out to work, so they need to be able to defend themselves if they're called upon to, and they, you know, they walk thousands and thousands of steps every day. So it does mean if they're not absolutely on tip-top condition, then probably we don't see them. So they are perhaps victims of their own success. When they're on top form, they're really, really good. But when they're feeling not so well, then it's perhaps not the day to be going outside. So we are working on that, but it just and we've spoken in this room a number of times before about the areas such as Broadland with 1 FTE and Brecon with 2 FTEs. You don't need a lot of sickness in those areas to really impact on some of the numbers. But I think all in all, we're probably no worse situation than we've been before, albeit it is difficult from time to time, especially with recruitment. Thank you.
Thank you. We do care about our staff. We make sure that they are well looked after. I haven't got a problem with that. It's just that when they're not on the street, then it may cause problems from them just not being there, basically. Daniel.
Thank you, Chair. And once again, thank you to Ian for another really good, detailed annual report. And I echo what you said, Chair, about the blue badge inspector. Really is, the position is really proving its worth, and perhaps with permission of the chairman, you can share expressions from the committee about the work he's done on that. But if I may, Chair, I'd just like to digress on just a separate issue on the report. We currently have an area in Great Yarmouth called Roman Place, which I'm sure you're aware of, Ian, and it's included in the residence permit review that's been undertaken at the minute. Now I know that stuff has been working in the background, being done and undertaken on that. However, there has been a slight sense that things have gone a bit slow, and what's highlighted me to the need for maybe us to try and speed things up is that myself and Miranda visited some business on Roman Place that we went to week before last, and it really has turned into a free-for-all now, and we're powerless to do anything because of the lack of restrictions on there. And it's not only affecting residents, it's now stopping businesses from able to take delivery of the goods that they need to sell because cars are just blocking their back entrances. So I was hoping whether we might be able to get a status update of where things are on that, and also whether I could put in a bit of a direct task, but just whether we can push that up further to the top in the scheme of things, perhaps look at getting this resolved before the beginning of the next season next year. Thank you, Chairman.
Yes, absolutely. I'm totally aware of the situation there in Roman Place, and as you quite accurately say, there has been some delays on our side with the progress of this. So, totally concur with everything that you've said. We accept that. However, the good news is, and it is good news, very good news, that we have recently appointed a full-time replacement for one of our officers who was working with us 2 days a week, and his sole mission in life, should he choose to accept it, so to speak, he will be given Yarmouth to work on and finish with a small project team as an absolute top priority, with Roman Place being one of the early areas that we hope to get cleared out and resurfaced. We've already got price to do that work. There's a little bit more to it than meets the eye, because there's some drainage things that we've got to sort out there as well, fly tipping to clear vehicles, and as you know full well from your site visit. So we are pretty au fait with the issues there, and our new starter is a very experienced project engineer who's joined the team, who was formerly one of our embedded staff, and he's already engaged with Lorraine and Miranda on that very subject. Had an initial meeting with both of you last week, didn't he, on Friday, I think, just to give you an update on his appointment, what he intends to do, and his kind of mission. And he will be shortly updating the project plan for the whole scheme, you know, in its entirety, because the whole review encompasses quite a number of bolt-on schemes like Roman Place, the Fisherman's Hospital, and other, as you'll know full well. So once Ian King is on new recruit, once he has updated the project plan, then we can share that with you. He's just literally getting his feet under the table, just trying to find out what's what, but we're very confident that, given his previous experience and his dedication now to the project, that it will get expedited and perhaps give you the speed of delivery that you were seeking some time ago, if that helps.
Well, through the chairman, thank you, Ian. I'll take all of that, and I know there'll be some very relieved businesses and residents, so I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
I'd keep pressing for a timeline on that if I was you. Just to keep the pressure up. That's just to keep the pressure up. Yeah. Anyone else with any other comments on the paper? Okay. Well, the recommendations are to note, and I don't like the words "to note" because I don't feel like I've done anything. It's to agree. So I'm going to change them all to agree. So that recommendations 11.1 is to agree the positive financial performance and outturns of both the Norfolk Parking Partnership and the NC CPE year-end accounts. 11.2, to agree the positive NPP and NC operational performance over the last 12-month reporting period, and to agree the positive work undertaken and achievements made by the Blue Badge investigator over the last 12-month reporting period. Are members happy to support that? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. There's nothing else on the agenda, so I thank you for coming. The next meeting is on the 18th of December at 2 p.m, same place. And I thank officers for all the hard work they're doing on this across all the boroughs and districts and the city, because it's sometimes it's a thankless task, but it's one that has to be done, and it's for the first time in a very long time showing a healthy surplus. So well done to everybody. Thank you.
There we have it. Didn't say anything about the car park charges or anything, did they? Right. See you on the 18th. Cheerio for now.